Okay, this is a Ford 302 or 347 stroker build that we're doing. Got probe pistons, flat top pistons, a really nice forged piston, zero decked. We've line honed the main tunnel. We'll put new rod bolts in the conrods, which are scat conrods, Chev off-road crank, and no, it's all clearanced. Take a bit of clearance out of here. Clearancing on the bottom of the cylinder bores on the inside also, don't forget that. And the whole thing's been balanced in-house. External balance, as Fords are, but still it's come up really well. And it spins really nice, this engine. The reason we know this is that this build's second time round. There's a stud girdle to go on it, and that's important. This is the original block that we had done a couple of years ago. We'd built this engine. I don't know if you're going to see this. I'll try and you see a crack running through here. This engine almost literally snapped in half. You can see the crack running through there, up right through the mains. It comes up here. It runs right through there. You can see it there. It then runs. I don't know if you see the block has these oil return holes in the middle of it. It's basically chased all the way through there, all the way down. Comes down, seems to run out about here down. A fair bit of metal around the back of the engine, around the bell housing, so it seems to run out there. Turn the block around, and I don't know, can we see in there? The crack, this is the underside of the valley, of course. It's cracked right through the middle of the cam bearings, come right out. Big chunk of the block, the main web come out here. It stayed in there because of the main studs held it in there, thank God. Crack continues down through there. I can see it through here. It comes all the way out to the main galley, out to the main web, and again, it stops down near the bottom. I mean, it's only the back of the engine that's holding it all together. I reckon we might snap this one in half and make a coffee table out of it. Main girdle held this engine together, there's no doubt about that. And you can see the pieces that were ready to come out, and if they went into the assembly, so basically we're area number 2, if this section here came out and went into that rotating assembly, stud girdle on top, it would have just destroyed the whole thing, would have been absolutely catastrophic. As it happened, the cam bearings lost their interference, the cam bearings slid forward into the cam, absolutely no damage. It's a roller cam, a comp I think cam, absolutely no damage. I can't believe how lucky he was with this engine. It really could have cost him big time. As it is, it just cost me labour. So we got another block. Now the reason this cracked apparently is because this is an EFI block, you know, so sort of early 90s block, and they're very beautifully cast, but you can see because they've got better control of their casting techniques, they're able to cast the engines a lot thinner. That means they save weight, save material, but it does mean they're limited to about 500 horsepower, these engines. This engine made about 560, I believe, on the dyno. So, yeah, this is the first stage of the build-up. I've got all the main tunnel line board, blocks board and torque plate honed. The rods are scat rods, they're good, they're good to go. We're going to put new rod bolts in it. And there's studs, of course, and a stud girdle to go on. I'll show that a bit later on. But no, it's coming along nice. These are the heads off this 347. They're AFR, aluminium heads, AFR Renegades, 205s. That's 205cc of the in the intake port. That gives you a reference as to how big the intake port is, and because all Windsor heads are going to be basically the same layout, that means the port shape is basically that. So if you increase the volume of that, it gives you an idea of what your cross-sectional area is, and that's the important figure. Why they don't list it as a cross-sectional area, I'll never know, but anyway. 2.8 A6 valves, intake, 1.6 on the exhaust. No, really nice head. I mean, what can you say? They don't probably come much better than this. 220 pound on the seat, pack spring, 716 screw studs, and really nice, really, I don't know if you can see that, really nice guide plate. Each one's individually adjustable, and I like that. It's really good. These are basically a 351 head, but we've got them on a 302, which has 716 head studs, so there's a little reducing bush there. that makes them all work, and no, they're fine. They're a good set of heads. All I did with these was basically pull them apart, clean them up. I just stoned the seats, faced the valves, and just synchroed the seats just to freshen them up, and it'll go back on the motor. And it'll be good. This is 347 Ford thing. I've just put put the cam in and degreed it in. Just for the record, I've got at 50 thou 11 degrees, centerline 106, and at 50 close 42. What I just wanted to check is a piston valve clearance. The way you do that is you set it all up with a set of lifters, put some plasticine on the valve, put the head on, put the rockers on with no gasket and zero lash on the rockers, and roll it over a couple of times. Then you end up with your blob of plasticine being squeezed out. I'll get some angles on that. You can see the pattern there. You can see a pattern there of the two valve relief diameters in the piston, which is those two there. And then you can measure that. So that valve's been opened and closed with the rockers going, and I mean I can see I've got 80 thou there, plus 40 thou for the head gasket, plus 20 thou for the lash on the rockers, and you've got upwards of 140 thou piston valve clearance. So that's good. That's what I was after. And the other thing I was checking was just the diameter, and the smaller diameter here is, in the piston relief, the smaller diameter is well and truly, it's about 3 mil beyond the diameter of the valve itself. So that's what I was after. That's it just there. So that's good. That's good. Peace of mind. Just for the record, this 347, mains are all tensioned at this point. I've degreed the cam in. I put it on the same settings that we had it in last time, and I'm getting a lobe centerline of 106 degrees. It's a comp cam, it's a Ed Curtis comp cam. All other big solid roller Ford cams from comp are on a 106 centerline, so I think we're on the money with it. Duration's correct, and like I say, it's on the same settings as it was last time. I didn't take the bottom cog off the crankshaft, so I know it was at that setting. So I just double checked it, come up with the 106, and that's apparently what it is. So just waiting on rod bolts, and then the bottom end can be sealed up. This is this Ford thing. Just put new rod bolts in them and checked one bolt out of two to make sure that 45 foot-pounds was giving us 5.5 to 6 thou stretch. So they give you about 5.5 thou stretch. So it's good to go. Big ends are tensioned, mains are tensioned, oil pumps on and primed, oil pump drives in there, pickup, sump, front timing cover, we're good to go. The cam's timed, good to go. Well, there it is, basically finished. 302, 347 Windsor, AFR heads, Chev off-road crank, scat rods, probe pistons, comp custom cam, roller of course, really nice roller rockers, nice top head, AFR heads, 205s, Holly thing, and I don't know, he's got some kind of block here with these pipes and solenoid valves. I don't know what they are, but anyway, I'm sure it must do something for the efficiency of the engine, I'd say. She's just about good to go. This fella, he stands on it hard. I mean, he really gives it a pizzle. And this thing held together pretty well, really. I mean, for the block to fail, but everything else was good as gold. It's a good, strong engine, and apparently he's racing in 3 weeks' time. So nice to see he's giving it a bit of time to get some run-in time. But anyway, there it is. That's what we do.